Working on a little mixed media collage. I'm starting with a background of various text print, and I'm working on just a little wooden panel that's about 1/4 ply. And this is just various text, dictionary print, map, paper, and I'm just trying to get a balance between the colors of some of them are pale and some of them more of a yellow color and aged. And I have 2 large bees that I want to use because it's going to be birds that are going to be on this canvas. And I'm just bringing it over the edge. Now eventually I'll add a 1x2 to the back to make it more like a gallery panel. A lot of times when I do this, I try to get some subtle stuff into the background, like maybe definitions that have to do with the subject matter. These are some little mixed media birds that I had made earlier. They're just 3 kinds of scrapbook paper put together in a little bird. I made about 9 or 10 of them, just using a little bird pattern that I made and tore it and combined them in different combinations. And I'm using a heavier gel medium. Now I'm just putting my quote on some scrapbook paper. I'm going to give this a real good coat of the gel medium so I can use the Faber-Castell pip markers over it later. And I'll let this dry and cure. And I'm using a little bit of white paint and gray pip marker just to kind of blend. And I'm also going to use a paint pen, a white paint pen, and it's just the blue marker from the Faber-Castell markers. And I'm just trying to get a little bit of a blend between, and I'll come back in and add some details. There's the white paint marker I was talking about. Just using that to put some white paint on, and then I'll usually blend a little bit. I have to be very careful not to go too close with the pit pens or I'll clog the tips. And that was a black paint marker that I've been also using with it that you'll see me use. I'm just trying to give a little bit of a 3D, some lights and shadows. I know some of this is off. I'll scoot the board up in just a second. That's the problem when you use the camera close up. Sometimes you get preoccupied with the art and you forget exactly where the camera is. And that's just a baby wipe I'm just using to, if I get off the edge. And while I'm trying to make these birds look somewhat realistic, they're not a specific species of bird or anything that's real. They're just color combinations I liked and some markings that I had seen on a reference photo that I was just kind of getting a stylized bird. And the other thing you have to watch is the tips of your fingers will sometimes be polluted, and you gotta keep them clean with the baby wipe. Now I'm just using some white paint and the white paint pen and a stencil to add in some branches. This is a stencil I'd put the modeling page through, which wasn't recorded earlier, and I'm just darkening the cherry blossoms, and you can see that I've gone over the white paint with the brown pit pens to make the branches stand out, and I'm just trying to give the trees some distinction. It was a iridescent medium that I had used with some metallic paint, and it was so thin that it kind of went through the stencil. And now I'm going to use the white paint and the paint pen again to add some leaves. And I'm going to add a little bit of Deco Arts fluid medium to lay in a base. And I just find that if I use the white paint first, it kind of helps the lighter colors stand out, and I can also diminish the background and make it kind of pop on top of it. And now I'm just gonna, this is dry, I'm gonna come back with the olive green tone pip marker and add some shading into the leaves and give them a little dimension. And the last thing I want to do is add in a glaze. There's just a little bit of Spa Blue from Deco Arts, and I decided it's a little light, so I add a little bit of turquoise of the fluid, and I'm just kind of going to work this real pale blue background in and around the areas on top, and just kind of wash that in and make sure that I'm not covering up some of my main elements. And then I'm just using a baby wipe every once in a while to kind of bring it back if it gets too opaque and I want to see something on the background or blend. Well, that's just about it, and I want to thank you for watching.